On this episode, we're going to focus on the topic of suicide. Suicide is an act that in today's world is often overlooked by the general public, seen as nothing more than a selfish act to avoid facing our problems. But when faced with the facts, depression and forms of anxiety aren't just our problems. They're illnesses we must find ways to live with day after wretched day. Maybe feeling anxious and going through depressive episodes is as common as a seasonal cold, but I assure you, it can't be cured as easily as one.
All to say, if those around us can recognize how loathsome it is to feel anything remotely close to having a mental illness, why are we so poorly represented? When we are young, our parents and teachers say things such as kids can be cruel and in all avoiding discipline. When we move further into the grand scheme of things and begin to work retail jobs where sometimes in life we must endure people we can't stand, or that's just how things work, get used to it. It seems as though there is no right or wrong, simply injustices. Later, when we have kids of our own, the cycle repeats itself.
Now, why don't we take the time to solve these problems and possibly avoiding mental illnesses, or at least minimizing the intensity of them? Mental illness truly does tear through one's insides, but once it goes beyond the confines of that person's mind, mental illness is something that affects us all. Whether that be creating bullies or convincing someone that suicide is the only cure to escaping their own mind.
Now for the personal stuff. So the list would be long to list all the things why I would kill myself. Why not talk about something more uplifting, like why we haven't killed ourselves yet?
Well, there's reasons.
And those reasons are?
I don't know, it's always situational to, the time. What is going on at your point in life, the point in your life at the moment that you're planning, you know?
Like, if I wouldn't have met Mallory or wouldn't have, actually tried my life at school, I probably would have killed myself by now.
I don't know.
There's always people that are sad, even if you don't think so. There's always going to be sad people.
Besides that one kid.
No, but that one kid who's always, laughing and screaming and all that is the kid who's actually, the saddest.
Uh-huh.
Or, the kid who's beaten at home.
There's a
look at
reason
Robin
that
Williams.
one kid... Yeah. There you
Look
go,
at who?
example.
Robin Williams.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always that one kid that, you always laugh at them for trying every drug out there, but why do you think they're trying all
No, but it's not
drugs?
even, the drugs. It's just,
I'm thinking
someone
of someone in particular, that's why I said that.
Okay, but, someone like me who... my entire goal is just to make people laugh, and, it's always been that, and that's why I was in drama, and that's why I did theaters, because making people laugh with me instead of at me is, kind of the point. It's, you give them a reason to smile instead of, making fun of you.
Because you've been unhappy for so long, you would never wish it upon someone else.
Exactly.
The people who are filled with so much hate inside are the kindest, usually. And the other way around is true. The people who have perfect lives are the ones to tell you to get over it.
The people that were the saddest are usually the ones that go on to try and help people. Teachers were usually the ones being bullied in school, and doctors were usually the ones who were, really sick or had sick people in their family. So usually what you're struggling with when you're young is what helps you figure out who you are when you're
Yeah,
old.
I guess so. Because I was bullied and went through all that, I've always wanted to do something like this, the podcast, or, even, motivational speaking. I'd love to go back to my high school and, tell kids, bullying happens and you just gotta get over it. And it's, a hard pill to swallow.
You need to, understand why the bullies are doing what they're doing. But some people don't realize that until after.
Yeah, because, the bully could be getting beaten by his parents at home, or, went through his own shit.
That's why they know so many moves of how to hurt you.
Yeah, exactly. No, but even just... the kids who picked on me, I don't care what happened to them just because they picked on me. But I understand that, I don't think there's a single person who wasn't bullied or picked on or beaten or something. It's just something that happens, and it's something that people get over. But it does lead to, intense things, like drug abuse, alcoholism at young ages.
Or suicide.
Yeah, suicide.
Well, I think there should be more in schools to help people deal with it, because some people get bullied and it motivates them to do good things, and some people get bullied and just go in.
My whole
depression.
thing right now, it might pass, but my whole thing right now of wanting to be a teacher, going into counseling or something like that, the school system is such a shitty place that I feel the need to go on and help out.
I feel like school promotes bullying. I know my high school was like so anti-bullying,
For sure,
anti-bullying.
but like even if there's that one teacher that will take the time out of their day to actually speak to you, like you're a person, you're not just a student, they're not just above you, you're actually a human being. That one person is that one teacher is that one person that's gonna get you through it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going through right now, and I'm like, damn, I want to be that person.
Yeah, at my high school, there was a VP that, like, when I was being bullied, like, intensely in 7th grade, it would be the person, like, you talk to them and they dealt with it properly, but as soon as they left, there was no one else. Even the guidance counselor, I think I talked to her, like, twice in the entire time I was in high school.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even about the bullying.
Same thing with my, like, the people that we have that are there to talk to suck at talking to you. They always tell you, oh, well, maybe you should be nicer to that person, or, oh, you should be more considerate to why your parents are talking to you in such a manner.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, hey, you actually have a mental illness? How about we actually help you cope with that instead of telling you it's not real and you should get rid of it?
And I feel like they try and ignore family bullying. They're like, oh, well, they're your family. You should
It's your
care
parents.
about
They
them.
mean
It's
well.
your parents, your siblings. They're doing it just to
What if
tease.
your parents are abusive? Or what if your siblings are actually bullying you?
Yeah, because they don't focus on that. Especially in, like, high school level, they focus on what happens at school. There's always talk about, like, oh, online bullying, like, oh, just to get rid of online bullying, turn off your screen, get off the internet, go outside. But then you go outside and that same bully's sitting on your street corner waiting for you to come outside so he can kick your ass.
Yeah.
Like, there's no escaping it. If you're stuck in it, you are stuck in it. But it passes. People mature and they realize that it's messed up for them to do it. And
the scars will stay with you for however long.
Yeah.
So I don't know, get yourself a good ass lotion.
Yeah. No, but like physical scars or emotional scars, it doesn't really matter.
But again, that's why it should be talked about more at a younger age for how to deal with it. Because it is something that happens, but no one talks about how to deal with it. They just say, well, it's gonna happen, and if you're nice to people, maybe it won't.
But like, it's not even that it's not talked about. It's like, especially this year, it's romanticized. Like, the idea of killing yourself or being a drug addict is so popular because of new school rappers. Like, we've had multiple people pass away in the past couple of years from ODing on drugs or something like that. And they're always crying out for help.
Like B?
Another episode that we should talk about is people that ruin our community, like the people within us that are so heavily represented. Like the kids are like, oh, it's because I have anxiety that I'm doing this, and they totally don't
No,
have
this
anything
year
like
is
that.
just so bad. It's like, oh, I'm depressed, but it's like,
because
are
it's
you?
cool. Everyone's depressed. We all, whatever. I thought you were gonna sit on him. Don't sit on him. That's another topic at all.
Yeah, but it all goes together. Like, especially with rappers and stuff like that, they're crying out for help, and people are like,
But
oh,
they have face tattoos, so it's controversial. Let's not talk about that.
no, exactly.
And especially on social media, it's all romanticized about how, like, oh, someone's gonna come along and save me and kiss my scars, and they're gonna make me feel better.
No, you have to help
That
yourself.
doesn't happen. You help yourself. You can't love someone if you don't love yourself first.
Like, I've been talking about my problems at home forever, whether that be with people in my personal life or people at school, and only this year, in my last year of high school, am I figuring out that the option for me was emancipation, not you have to get adopted or you have to go live with another family member or just ignore your problems and forgive your parents because they couldn't do any wrong.
No, but everyone, like, especially if it's family, people are like, oh, forgive them. They made a mistake, or like, they're not actually like that, or like...
They care for you. It's your parents. They can't not care for you.
Because
That's
people don't see what
impossible.
happens behind closed doors.
And they think, like, well, family's family. It doesn't matter what they do. Like, you're related to them. You have to love them. But, like, you don't pick your family. If your family member ends up being, like, a horrible person, you don't get to pick that.
No, exactly.
You shouldn't have to deal with them just because you're related to them.
My closest friends are my family. I don't believe my
especially
family
with
is
verbal
family.
abuse. Like, if you're like, oh yeah, I was raped by whatever family member, they'd be like, okay, we'll never talk to that family member again.
No, but
because
if
they're violent. But if they're just calling you names, or something
yelling
like if
at
they
you.
were catcalling you rather than raping you, it'd be a completely different story.
Nah.
It'd be like, oh well, he probably didn't mean it. He was probably just joking. It was his way of saying that you're beautiful.
Yeah. Again, it's just all these things happen. They happen at a shitty time in life because it mostly happens to people who are in high school or who are trying to discover themselves, and people are hating on them, and it leads to them believing that there's nothing in this world for them. Mm-hmm. But it's like there's something for everyone. You have to find your passion. You have to realize that if you're going to listen to everything everyone says, you're not going to be able to function.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people lead to things like extreme drug abuse, alcoholism, and in the end, suicide. Or even just suicide attempts, or like cries for help.
Threats are enough.
Yeah.
When someone even threatens not only suicide, but hurting themselves in any manner, why don't we stop and talk to that person instead of just challenging them to do it?
No, because especially like, not even just the threats, after the threats, let's say you don't even talk about it and you end up hurting yourself. People see the signs of you hurting yourself, scars, whatever, and they're like, oh, you just want attention, because especially now being this year, everything being like so public in like not even a real way, just like, oh, I'm depressed, oh, I'm sad, oh, I'm gonna hurt myself. It people just feel like it's a sign that you just want attention. When people are actually giving cries for help, trying to show that they do need help.
You understand that it's for your attention, not saying that it's always the case.
Yeah.
Why won't you give it to us? Why is it just
Exactly.
another excuse to torment us?
Most cases, it's for the attention. They just need a little bit of...
Yeah, but it's for the attention, not for like just to get
not,
attention. Like
not just to be a popular kid who tried to kill themselves. It's really just because no one else is paying attention to them.
If
and
they
need
can't
something.
hear the voices screaming in your head, maybe you can put something on your body that they'll finally notice.
Yeah.
No one can hear those
Isn't
voices but you.
There's that show on Netflix. I always forget what it's called. The one that talks about the girl who committed suicide.
13 Reasons Why.
That. Why is that a thing? Why is it put out
Why
there
is
like,
everyone
oh, this
seeing-
is the reason I killed myself? Why is it romanticized? Why is it made popular? It makes no sense.
I have so many issues with
I've
with
never
that
seen the show. I've never seen
the
it.
We could
idea
make a
of
whole
it-
episode of it, but
The idea of it would be good because, like, it needs to be talked about that people do commit suicide and people do.
but
have
they made a
reasons,
season 2 once the first season was popular, so
And
it just
they-
ruined everything they said, everything they capitalized
Well,
on.
not
It's
even
all
necessarily that. It's
all
just
for
that
money
it
at
in
this
such
point.
a bad
It was for
such
money
a
in
bad
the
way
first point.
because they showed her committing suicide. There's like rules on TV that you're not supposed to show it.
Wait, they actually showed
they
the
showed
act?
her in the tub just slitting her wrist.
Yeah.
Like that's
No
not
fucking
gonna...
way.
There's
Wow.
But it has to be seen to get the point across.
But there's like a rule.
What
like,
do you mean?
There's not a. It's not a rule, but there's like a general guideline for TV shows that you're only supposed to talk about it and allude to how, like, not even allude to how they did it, but the fact that they did it. You're not supposed to talk about it because it could trigger some people. But they completely just showed it, and they said.
And they also
like,
showed
using-
her being raped multiple times, and
Wow.
season 2 was just a fucking
And
shit show.
using the tapes, saying like, oh well,
Using
like,
your
the-
suicide as like
the
a form
snowball
of
effect
revenge.
part of the show is good because like it is a lot of things. People are like, oh, they killed themselves just because that one person said that one thing, but it is all stuff that adds up, which is
It's
the good part of
it's
the show.
literally
Not
adding
to
up.
be
It's
that
this on
person,
top
but
of
I
this.
read the book, and in the first page of the book, it tells you this happened because of the snowball effect. It's not because some
Yeah.
kid in class stole my stickers or whatever.
It's not the
hell it was.
first time. It's like, oh, I
It's
guess
every
I'm.
little thing
yeah.
on top of another that just gives you no reason to live.
But the show made it seem like the tapes were like her wanting revenge. Like, you're the reason I killed
Like-
myself. You're the reason I killed myself.
That's insane.
Like killing yourself is a
It's-
way to get back at the world.
Yeah. But like the show just did it so wrong. Like there should be more like talking about it in the media because
But now
it is
people are
something that
talking about it in
happens.
the wrong way.
Yeah,
it's
but now
just
they're
like,
talking about it as if it's like people do it for revenge and they want to
Yeah.
prove that what
It's just
to
another
other people.
insult. Like, oh, are you like Hannah Baker?
Yeah.
Or,
Because
Is that the girl's name in the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
well, like I've seen on the first day back at school, like from I think it was like Christmas break when everyone binge watched it.
Okay.
It's be like, hey, can I have a pencil? No. Welcome to your tape or something like that. Something
What
stupid.
the fuck?
So people would use it
Yeah,
as
because
just the funniest thing to
The
say.
beginning of every episode started with "Welcome to your tape" and like the person's name, and then
Okay.
they would explain what they did throughout the episode.
Okay.
So it seemed like every
So
episode
then,
was just talking
of
about
course-
why she wanted to kill herself because of that person and how that person should feel bad about why she killed herself.
But what you're explaining about that is like every episode was a different tape, a different reason.
yeah,
So it's literally snowball effect.
yeah, but they didn't explain that
Like if
properly
you are
in the
someone
show.
who struggles with mental illness or anything like that, just being like I don't want to look down upon being depressed, but being sad for a long amount of time, like anyone
Yeah.
can experience that. But then it just became like, oh well, it's this normal thing.
But it's not
Everyone
a normal
gets
thing.
bullied.
It's literally an illness.
Mm-hmm.
And it affects so many
But the
people.
show just ruined that. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh well,
There
this
should
boy
be more of it,
did whatever to
but-
her, and then
Suicide is, I think, #1 cause of teenage deaths in America. Like,
Yeah.
up to date. It's above things like cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And
Cancer,
like car accidents and
yeah,
everything.
That's insane how something like cancer, I don't want to say it's unavoidable, but to the point of...
Everyone knows what cancer is.
Exactly.
They've experienced someone or heard of someone with cancer.
But what I'm getting at is cancer or a car accident or some actual like sickness that drains your body physically, like you can see it, like you get sick with something, you're losing weight, something like that. People make note of it. They're like, oh, this needs to be dealt with. But people like everyday people who look normal, they're not changing how they look.
Or when your physical symptoms are self-inflicted.
Exactly.
Like the being tired all the time, people are like, oh, well, maybe you should just sleep more.
Yeah,
like
maybe
that whole...
No, because I sleep
stigma around
15
that.
hours a day and I miss everything I'm supposed to do.
It's not the fact that I'm tired, it's the fact that I have no reason
Or,
to live, so
Yeah.
Like,
I have no
symptoms
energy, no
aren't talked about.
motivation.
The symptoms should be more talked about because, like, it's just a disease of another organ. It's a disease of the brain.
Yeah.
If someone were to have, like,
But
a
you
heart
can't see
attack,
your brain,
then
it's
they're
on
like,
the
oh.
inside.
Exactly. But then you get people, like, the signs would come out in anorexia, bulimia, self-harm. These things you can see, but then people don't take note of these things. It's like, oh, you have to eat, oh, you have to stop making...
That easy.
Yeah,
right?
because...
It's not like it's an illness or something like that, like we've been trying to say this whole
like,
time.
Like, why are you depressed? Just be happy, just smile, right?
If
Like-
it were that easy, then they would have done it a long time ago.
If your laugh is
Exactly.
fake, you're kidding no one but yourself.
But the symptoms, I think, should be more talked about because, like, not washing your teeth, not taking showers, not cleaning your room. It's all stuff like people are like, oh, well, you're just lazy. Maybe if you actually cleaned yourself, you'd be happy. But those are the symptoms of not being
Yeah,
happy.
exactly.
They're not the cause.
No, the cause comes down to so many different things. Every person that deals with anxieties or different forms of depression and other things that would lead them...
Any personality disorder.
Exactly,
whatsoever.
anything like that. It's not talked about until the point that it's major, until it's gonna harm someone other than yourself.
We've definitely had people at school who, I'm not gonna say they haven't killed themselves, but they definitely died of, like, drinking and driving, and you'll talk about it for, like, a week,
Yeah.
and then that's it.
And then you don't hear about
The
them
end of
again.
that. Never again.
But things like... They say that at a young age, there's no reason to be sad. Like, I've heard a lot of people when I'm like, oh, I'm just down, I don't want to go out today. It's like you don't have a reason to be sad, you haven't even lived that long, whatever. But I had to quit my last job because of the stress and the anxiety of going to the place.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't understand why. It's like, oh, you're young, you have your whole life ahead of you. Like, what if I don't? What if that is the end? What if it is the end for someone that at work it stresses them out, at school it stresses them out, and to the point that they can't handle it anymore?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I feel like people who are older, even, like, who might not have their whole lives ahead of them and might not have the same thing.
Yeah.
Don't want to talk about it because they're like, oh, well, I have my life together. I have a job, I have a house. But they don't want to talk about it because they're like, oh, well, I shouldn't be sad because I have a life.
Yeah, again, we are focusing, like we have been, mostly on, like, high school age, but it affects everyone,
Because
like,
it starts
of
there.
all
Those
ages.
are the most vulnerable times of your life, and if you mess that up, if people ruin your younger years, that'll stay with you forever, because what else do you know?
Yeah.
You don't actually learn anything in school. You learn social skills and how to develop a work ethic, but other than that, it's all the experiences you have with
Exactly.
people. And
That's one thing I hate about the, like, you have your life ahead of you, or, like, you haven't lived that long. Like, I'm 21.
why would
That's
I have
the-
a want to live if all of it
Exactly.
experiences negative things?
No, but my point is, let's say the person telling you is, like, 50. They've lived for 50 years. So 20 years in their mind is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's less than half their life. But it's my entire life. It's everything I know. It's everything I know up to date, and it's the oldest I have been till now. And so...
And you can't just wait for your problems
Exactly.
to go away. That's not a solution.
Because if I'm 21 and my problems have been with me for 10 years, that's half my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's half my life of bullshit that is literally, like... It's to the point that it is your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if stress and anxiety is everything you know, you don't understand
like you
why...
said, half your life. You were,
Yeah.
what, 10 before that? What do
Yeah,
you
exactly.
remember from that? Do you
Exactly.
remember
You
being
don't
a 5-year-old?
remember-
Because I don't.
No.
I think, like, the main issue is it's just not talked about as much because even people who go to therapy or even people who are on meds, might still want, like, think about suicide.
Yeah.
Because some people think, oh, if I go to therapy, it's just going to fix itself. But therapy is just giving you tools to be able to help yourself. It's
Yeah.
not
The whole
just
issue
magically
with
getting rid of it.
Getting help of it, like bringing back to the cancer thing. When
Yeah.
you have cancer, it's basically glorified to go through chemo. Like, oh, you're so brave, you're so strong.
Yeah.
Once they lose their hair, it's like, oh, you're an icon. But
Going through therapy.
I'm starting therapy. Oh, you shouldn't talk about that. That's a downer for other people.
Yeah.
Me getting better is something I should be shameful of because it's not something fun to talk about. Well, I'm sorry, but life isn't fun.
No.
Death is all around us, tragedy, everything like that.
You're
That's
just trying to
reality.
get help for yourself, and people don't understand that. People tell you to get help, and then when you're getting the help, it's like, well, why would you tell people you're getting help?
It's
Yeah,
like
don't
fat
talk to
people
us
going
until
to
you're
the
better.
gym.
Yeah.
Like, people will be like, oh, well, just go to the gym and you lose weight. And then fat people go to the gym to
Every
try to
single
lose
day,
weight.
yeah.
And
And
they
then
get
everyone
chased out
laughs
of
at
the
them.
place.
And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, look, a fat person trying to run.
Yeah.
But, like, they're just trying to help themselves.
Yeah. Being someone, like, I did therapy when I was younger, and I didn't answer a solid question. I'd say
No.
I don't know to everything. Because I didn't want to be there. I didn't want the help at the time, and I was forced into it.
Or even then, like I was
I was
saying,
taking adult prescriptions at 12 years old for antidepressants.
Mhm.
Like, why are they giving a 12-year-old adult dosage? Like, something was obviously
and
wrong.
then talking to someone is gonna solve everything.
Yeah, talking to someone, like, I didn't even know what to say. I'd leave from school, go to this place. I'm 12 years old, 11 years old, and I don't know what to say.
You don't even know how to formulate.
Yeah, I
a
don't know
full
what's going on.
sentence yet.
I just didn't want to be alive. I didn't want to survive in a place that I felt didn't want me.
Mhm.
And that's how a lot of people feel, and that's why I feel that this is a topic that needs to be focused on, and it needs to be in the bigger media, but not at the level it is now, where it's all romanticized, but actually talked about.
People are depressed to make money at this point.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then the people who are truly depressed,
Especially because they're
behind the
making
scenes.
TV shows that are like making money off the idea of being depressed and committing suicide.
I remember a similar story to you. Like when I was going through counseling or whatever, I ended up lying to my counselor just so that I could get out of there faster. Like,
Yeah.
things are better since we.
Exactly. I literally think I either told lies or said I don't know. Again, it's been 8 years since I've been, because I stopped myself from going. I said I wouldn't answer any more questions and to stop bringing me there. Because I didn't feel like it was helping. I felt like it was downing me more. I was starting high school at the time. I didn't want to be doing that.
I mean, I never even ended up going into therapy. I did the evaluation, and the girl made me feel so bad about myself that I just didn't even answer her call back to schedule my therapy appointment.
Wow.
I did my evaluation, and then, it was all questions like, oh, how often do you cry? Like, how often do you have bad thoughts? How often do you not feel good about yourself?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I'd be like, I even lied during the evaluation. She said, oh, that's a lot. You shouldn't be crying that much. You're really sad. And that made me feel real great about myself, so I didn't want to
No,
go to
because
therapy.
they really don't know how to talk to you. Like, I know there's things
How can
online.
someone who doesn't have an issue like mine
Yeah.
tell me about mine?
Exactly. Because there's all these people online. Like, there's therapy that you can get online. You can call someone. Another thing is, you have to pay for it. If someone's 14, they don't have the money to pay for the help that they need. And maybe they don't want to tell their parents and go somewhere in person. But the only other thing that's the option is, like, there's Kids Help Phone, there's suicide hotlines, but do they really
But
help?
then what are those people? They're at the same level as, like, sex hotlines at this point. They're paid to talk
Yeah.
in such a way
They're
that makes you
paid to-
feel good.
Exactly, but some
Like-
people, like,
Some people
I know
it
of-
works, but
but I know of stories that of people have called these hotlines and they don't help. Or that your wait line is, like, 20 minutes.
or even that you call and you just kill yourself on the phone with them,
Yeah.
which is like the worst.
No,
thing,
but
it
could you
does
imagine
happen.
you, like, call someone for help and it's, like, your last wait, you're ready to do it, and it's like, hi, we have to put you on hold for the next 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to wait the 25 minutes if they're ready to...
But there's no funding for this kind of thing,
No.
and it would all be it would be so much more avoidable if it was talked about a bit more in school, and if there was help for young people.
Yeah.
because a lot of stuff that happens is even because there's not enough help for young people, like mass shootings or school shootings.
Yeah.
Like, those people needed help and they didn't get it.
Yeah, like...
And they almost always end up killing themselves
American
at the end of the shooting. They just
healthcare
wanna...
is a whole other story
That,
of,
again,
like, they can't help you until you actually do it. You say
Yeah.
you're going to threaten the school, it doesn't matter. Once you actually do it, then they can treat you.
And again, that's like the whole 13 Reasons thing. They wanted revenge for all the people that hurt them. So they think that's what they need. They go and shoot up the school.
To get their point across, they must hurt others, and whether that be killing yourself so others feel the grief and regret and whatever else, or it actually be physically hurting those people.
Yeah. But, like, even though I was bullied and I went through that, I don't feel the need to go back and get revenge on anyone because...
Because you're self-aware.
I
took the time to
exactly.
explore yourself. And
Yeah. I know who I am. I know, like, even though I still deal with things, it's like I know how to deal with them now and I know what I need to do to keep myself going. But, like, the things I'm doing might not help the next person.
Yeah.
It's all situational, and the thing stopping you from, like, taking the step is, like, your will to live is yours and your own. No one can tell you, like, this is what has to be done to prevent yourself from taking your own life. Because
how can someone else know what's
exactly.
good for you?
Even if it's the same situation, let's say two people dealt with the same exact thing. They perceive it differently. They experience it differently because we're not the same. Even though the government and everyone tries to make everyone into this, like, one line, like, you're born, you live, you go to school. After school, you work. You work until you're almost dead, and then you live out your life, and then you die. That's how the government wants it done. They want it so...
There's no in-betweens, there's no feelings, there's no nothing. There's just a strict guideline.
Yeah, because why would feelings matter if it's just for taxes?
But underneath all that, although it feels as if you've spent the most unbearable amount of time alone with yourself, have you actually taken that time to figure out yourself?
Exactly.
What are your values? What do you actually care for? What makes you happy? Instead of focusing on the things that ruin your life, why don't you think about the one thing? Even if it's one thing, like, you're happy that you can breathe.
Yeah.
Focus on the fact that you can breathe. Count your breaths. Count the things around you. And if that's not enough, think of at least one person who said one nice thing. And whether that one nice thing was saying hello to you without, like, making an ugly face, then think about that and then try to get them to do it again.
Yeah, if you can change...
Thank that person.
If you can change one thing a day to try and better your life, that's always something great. Like, try and make... Like, let's say you have a list of things you want to do. Do one a day. Do one a week. Get things done that you know are things that either you enjoyed in the past or that you think you'd want to try. If you want to do something, there's nobody stopping you except yourself. And I understand that's said a lot, but, like, what's really stopping you?
Or even people that, like, you could even just do something that you need to do, like brush your hair. Like, for some people, it's not a big accomplishment, and people are like, oh, all you did was brush your hair, it's not a big deal. But if it's a big deal to you, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
If you made yourself proud, then that's all you need to do. Like, you don't need to care about anyone else. You don't need to run a marathon for anyone.
They've done enough
You
to
can
ruin
just
you. You can do one thing.
You can just do your laundry and be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to run a marathon for anyone.
There will always be haters in life. There'll always be people that try to bring you down because bringing you down brings them up. And that's their coping mechanism. And it sucks. And it sucks that people deal with struggles because of other people's struggles. And it's a whole domino effect that people deal with pain and depression because they're being bullied. And that person who is bullying them
is their way of getting out
because they're being abused at home, or they were bullied in the past, or like they don't have a solid home or something like that. And it's also talked about like, oh, you have to forgive them because what's going on in their life. But what's the point on forgiving them if they are hurting you? I understand in the long run, forgive and forget, but if you're hurting right now, there's reasons why. There's people to talk to. Even you can message here. You can leave a comment. You can send me a message. And I'll do my best to talk to you and find people who could help you. But it takes the first step. You have to be willing to help yourself and to allow people to help you for help to happen. If you don't want to make the move, if you just want to sit there and accept what's going on, then that's what's going to happen. But if you decide, no, I don't want to be bullied anymore, no, I don't want to be depressed anymore, you have to start, you have to push, you have to be ready to take
can't just sit there and watch your life pass by.
Yeah, you have to be willing to commit to bettering yourself.
The first step is always the hardest, though. But as soon
the
as
first 100 steps is the hardest. It's
as soon as you do them, though, and you realize that you can do at least one little thing to help yourself get better, then you realize you can do more to help yourself get better.
We could go on and on about the reasons why to be upset and who sucks and who doesn't, blah, 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 blah. But like I said, if there's one person that, like, just said hello to you that one time, and that made you feel, like... Even if it just made you feel nothing and it was better than feeling sad, go see that person, talk to them. Maybe they're having troubles too.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe saying hi was the hardest thing they ever did.
Yeah, maybe that was their goal for the day, to say hi to someone new.
Or if you think, like, going back to the whole, like, being at school, you don't know that many people. It's like... your knowledge of the world is confined between, like, your house and, like, school and maybe your town, depending if you live, like, in
a small town. Because if you're in a city, it's like you know nobody. You can
hop on a train, do whatever, but it's all just blank faces. You know nothing about those people.
Yeah.
At least in the country. Like, let's say you have, like, a handful of teachers and one of them sucks the least. Go talk to that teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
They literally cannot be trashy to you. It's against their job. Like, they can't do it.
Talk to the least trashy person. That's what it is.
And maybe you'll find out that they're not trashy. You're just being really biased.
Yeah.
It's also like trial and error for figuring out what helps you. For some people, you don't want to talk to anyone. You just want to make yourself proud. For some people, it's making your parents proud. Or even though that shouldn't be your goal, you should always just be making yourself proud. But for some people, exercise helps because it helps your serotonin. For some people, it's not the serotonin imbalance. For some people, it's needing to talk to people. It's really just trial and error of figuring out what you need and what makes you happy.
Yeah, there's always going to be, like, people who try to give you solutions or, like, oh, try this, try that. And you can always try them. Go, try this, try that, whatever. But
make your own list of things.
Exactly. You'll find what helps you, and you'll find that the things that really don't help you and that might worsen it. But then you realize, shouldn't do that again, and you move on, you try the next thing.
But it's better than sitting there and watching your life go by.
Exactly.
But some people get discouraged by people saying, oh, well, exercise definitely helps. You need to exercise. If you don't exercise, you're not going to get better.
No, but you can
be talked about that way.
Take some points from that. Take, like, oh, maybe I should try exercising.
Find the good in things.
Exactly.
Find the good in everything. Or
but sometimes people get discouraged because they try it and then it doesn't work and then they feel like they'll never get better. But it's really just you need to try other things. You need to figure out what works.
And sometimes
one thing a day, one thing a week,
one thing a day. And sometimes, like, let's say you have 10 things that you want to try. You try them all, nothing helps. You can either find new things or try them again. It might have to be more than once. And then after, like, 6, 7, 8, maybe even, like, 20, 30 times, you realize, like, yeah, it's helping. It's getting me out of the house. It's making me happy. It's giving me a reason to smile and talk to new people and make new friends. If you find that one thing that pushes you, then it'll lead to other things. You'll start another thing, and then it'll just be to the point that you feel like you're functioning at the point of normal society.
It's all just about that one step.
Yeah.
And once you get to that one step, you'll be thinking about that 100. But once you got that one down, think about the second.
People are always aiming, like, you can't just start something and be like, oh, I'll be happy in a week. Because it doesn't happen that way. And
you might be happy in a second or in years from now. It's just important of, once you've gotten to that one step, don't try to skip ahead. Yeah. You have to take all the steps.
Because that's when people get down and they're like, oh, nothing's working, and then
because at the end of the day you have a mental illness. You will never be 100%, but you can be your 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
You can try and do a million things to cope the best with your situation, because you can't look at someone else's life and be like, I want that, because you'll never attain that. That's not you. You're not that person.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing for anything else. Like, for example, you have a bad ankle or a bad knee. The physio won't work for everyone. You need different kinds of exercises to get better depending on your situation. Not everyone's situation is the same. You have to, like, know what's best for you. If eating healthy helps you, then eat healthy. If exercising helps, then exercise. If just sitting and watching TV at the end of the day to relax helps, then do that. There is no, like, cookie cutter way to fix things.
You just need to take the time, think about yourself, even though it may feel like you only have yourself. Actually think about who you are and what could help you.
Overall, everything we're talking about, again, you have to find what works for you. We all believe that suicide in the end isn't an answer, even though you might feel at the moment that it is.
But instead of thinking of why you want to commit, why don't you think of the things holding you back from doing it?
Yeah, like what are the reasons that
What's that one
you're
thing
still
holding you
around?
back? That one thing that makes you think of, oh, maybe that would be a bad thing if I did do this.
Yeah, like you can think of your family, think of your friends, think of the things you love doing, like
Think of the things you'll leave behind. I'll never get to play my PlayStation again. Maybe that's what's holding you back. But
like you have to
reason,
beat that level on the new Spider-Man game.
You'll never get to see the season finale of your favorite TV show.
Yeah, exactly.
Big Mouth just came out.
So there's always a reason to push. You just have to find yours. We all wish you good luck. Again, if you need any help and you
Hit us
don't
up.
feel like talking really in person, you can always message one of us. I'll leave
And
contact
we won't
details
make you
below.
wait 20 minutes.
Yeah, we'll answer as soon as possible. Good luck with everything. We hope you find that one thing that keeps you going.